Have you ever felt like there's some secret club for millionaires and you just don't have the password? Well, it turns out there kinda is. But here's the good news. In this explainer, we're going to give you the password. We're pulling back the curtain on what the wealthy actually know about money and how you can join their ranks, even if you're not pulling in a massive salary.
All right, first things first, let's just blow up a huge myth right now. Most people think millionaires just get a big fat check from their parents, right? Well, according to a national study, a whopping 79% of them got zero inheritance. Nothing. They literally built it all themselves.
And what about their jobs? I mean, they must have all been doctors, lawyers, or big-shot CEOs, yeah? Nope. Get this. Only 31% of them consistently made over 100 grand a year. So, let's be clear. This isn't about having a huge paycheck.
Okay, so that brings up a really important question. If it's not family money and it's not always a crazy high salary, what's the secret sauce? Well, it's actually way simpler than you'd think. It all boils down to being able to say yes to 4 specific questions about your money.
And that leads us right into the first, and honestly, the most important question of them all. It's about mastering your cash flow. In other words, can you actually control the money coming in and the money going out?
You know, it's pretty amazing when you boil it all down. In your entire financial life, you really only have 2 levers to pull. Your income, which is what comes in, and your expenses, what goes out. That's it. Your whole financial future rests on how you manage just those 2 things.
And this, right here, this is the absolute core of it. It doesn't matter one bit how much you earn if your spending just rises to meet it. I mean, think about it. Over half of all Americans making 6 figures are still living paycheck to paycheck. The real secret to wealth isn't the size of your salary, it's the size of the gap between what you earn and what you spend.
So, let's really see how ridiculously powerful this is, especially if you start early with even a tiny bit of positive cash flow. Let's play a quick game. Who gets to retire a millionaire?
What about an 18-year-old who manages to scrape together just $250 a month to invest? Do they make it? Oh yeah. They don't just make it, they cruise past it, ending up with around $1.1 million.
Okay, what about a 25-year-old who's a little more established? They invest $500 a month. Well, they'd end up with even more, something like $1.3 million. Not bad at all.
But wait, this is where it gets really eye-opening. What about a 50-year-old who's absolutely crushing it, investing a massive $3,000 every single month? Surely they'd be set, right? Well, they get close, but they don't quite hit that $1 million mark. And that just proves it. Your most powerful wealth-building tool isn't money, it's time.
So you've managed to create that gap, that positive cash flow. That is a huge win. But just having extra money isn't enough. You need a plan for every single dollar. And that brings us to question 2. Are you splitting your income up strategically? Now, a super simple but really powerful way to do this is with the 50-30-20 rule. The idea is that 50% of your take-home pay goes to your absolute needs, like housing and food. 30% is for your wants, the fun stuff. And then, this is the important part, a non-negotiable 20% goes straight into investing. And hey, let's be super clear about one thing. That 20% is for investing, not just saving. Saving is for short-term goals, like a vacation or a new phone. Investing is when you buy assets that are designed to grow and make more money for you. Big difference. Now, that 50-30-20 plan is a fantastic, reliable way to build wealth, but it can be slow, like decades slow. So that brings us to question 3, which is basically the accelerator pedal. Do you have another way to make money?
This is where a side hustle comes in, and it is a complete game changer. Why? Because once your main job is covering your needs and your wants, you can take every single dollar from that side hustle and throw it directly at your investments. It's like pouring gasoline on that little wealth-building fire. It just explodes.
Just think about it. Let's say you build a side hustle that brings in an extra $1,000 a month. If you invest that money consistently, that side hustle alone can grow to over $1 million. That's $1 million you created out of thin air.
Okay, so you've got your cash flow under control, you're using the 50-30-20 rule, and you've even supercharged things with a side hustle. Amazing, but there's one last critical piece of the puzzle. You have to make sure all that money you're setting aside is actually doing something, which brings us to our final question. Is your money working for you?
I know. I can practically hear you through the screen right now. You heard those numbers, that 7% return, and you're thinking, hold on,
What magical savings account pays 7% a year? That's insane. And you know what? You're 100% right. No savings account is going to do that.
This is exactly why the wealthy invest their money instead of just saving it. Look at this. The average return of the S&P 500, which is basically like owning a tiny slice of the 500 biggest companies in the US, has been about 13.6% over the last decade. Compare that to your savings account. It's not even a contest. This is the power of letting your money do the heavy lifting for you.
And the best part is, you don't have to be a Wall Street genius. The key is just to be consistent and patient. I mean, historically, no one has ever lost money holding an S&P 500 index fund for 20 years or more. And with things like tax-free retirement accounts and fractional shares, you can literally get started with just $1.
So there you have it. That's the playbook. Those are the 4 questions that every member of the Secret Millionaire Club can answer yes to. 1. Can you control your cash flow? 2. Do you have a strategic plan for your income? 3. Do you have an extra income stream? And 4. Is your money working hard for you? The only real question left is, how many can you say yes to right now?